Hello, Booktube. This is a little discussion video, which I figured I'd just do out and about. Don't worry, I'm not driving. That's where the horn is. Yeah, I decided I'd like to have a little discussion video today, and I'm out and about, so why not just do a little experiment and do a bit of outside thing. So, hello on Yates Street in Victoria. I was reading Scott Galloway's book, The Four, recently. And he had this little offhand comment about how Amazon was like, they used user reviews basically to replace the sales force. That was their unpaid sales force. And I was like, oh, yeah, Amazon, Goodreads, which Amazon owns, thus obviously being another provider for the thing. It's funny how the second I start a video, the sirens start happening and ambulance is going off to help somebody, but we're just going to continue through that and we'll see how much gets picked up later. That Amazon's uses that, its reviews, it uses Goodreads reviews to basically as an unpaid sales force to sell their product. And of course they do it for much more. Amazon itself uses that for all products now. But, of course, Amazon is quite famous for starting out in the book business as that. I was thinking, yes, and here I am on Booktube, on YouTube, and what am I doing? But am I not kind of that dropping feeling like, oh, am I sort of a dupe as well? You can see me. I felt like a bit of a dupe in that moment, just in this casual mention in this business book of like, yeah, unpaid sales force that the corporations use to generate billions of dollars for themselves for their stockholders and to employ people and stuff like that. Though they employ less and less people. That's one of the big things of that book. But of course, this isn't actually a new thing. I'm also reading. I'm in the middle of reading Harlan Ellison's Spider Kiss, which is all about this publicity man for a rock and roller or rockabilly fellow who's really loathsome, but. One of the points he makes is this publicity man is how he actually operates his business is he goes to all the fan clubs, all the influencers, like the social media influences of today, while much more visible, are not a new thing. They were going in the 60s, and I'm sure they were going all the way through. I'm sure back in ancient Rome, then you had your patrons of the art, but I'm sure you had the people in the know who could introduce you to the patrons and would juice your career. So there's always these people around, and it's one of these things of, I guess there's that exchange of, even if it's not a monetary exchange, you're getting that exchange of, people are watching me as wanting to know what my opinion is. So you're getting that kind of that ego boost. So that's interesting. So yeah, there's that while people aren't getting the maybe getting the money from Amazon, they're getting the thrill of people are listening to me and wanting to know what my opinion is on stuff, and that's their payment. Of course, one of the things with this is especially when it's Booktube and it's books, because that's what obviously interests all of us here, or primary interest of our little niche in the internet, is that it's not just the evil corporations. There's plenty of authors who are, of course, in this day and age, they've had to become their own publicity men and generate their own publicity. And a part of what they do is they've got their authors tube now, and there's also, authors are also readers, so that they've got their own enthusiasms about books and wanting to talk about books, talk about their own books. And there being that conflict of when you start getting like negative reviews and people dissing your book, they're hurting your business. And I can see that from an author's point of view, you want to protect your not only you just protect your baby, but like when you get a bad review, it must feel like, oh my God, you're attacking my livelihood as an author. And, as someone who, I'm sure everybody here is like, oh, I have a novel in me and I've done my own writing. And one of the reasons I've not been a successful writer is a success of being writers. I can't submit anything. I have horrible insecurities that way. And I don't think I could take that kind of feedback. I'm not sure exactly if, as things go wider on YouTube, whether I can take the feedback of people watching my videos and going, wow, you're just a bonehead who's just rambling on here, John. Jay, and you know, and you don't even know your own name sometimes. Well, I go by John. I go by Jay. So, and I mean, in the final end of this discussion, I guess there's just the whole thing of we live in a capitalist society, and I think there's some part of a thing of no matter how much of you say something is art or something like that, if no one is buying your art, in the case of books, if no one's gonna, if you write the greatest novel there is, it's beautiful, artistic, but no one buys it, no one gives you money for it, no one gives the people that you have a contract with to money for, so that you can, well, they'll give you more money so that you have more freedom to actually go out and write more books. There is a thing in our society where if you don't, that money is a part of the conversation. Money, there's the artistic conversation, but there's also the conversation of this touched me, I love this, I entertained me, on whatever level it engaged me. A part of that is yes, and a sign of that is here's my money for this, and we're going to keep going. So this all came out of that like little comment of starry-eyed, idealistic me reading a business book where the business book says, you know what, this is another commodity, and you guys are a part of this capitalist conversation. And I had a little drop there. I had a feeling of dropping off there. I may have given myself a little pep talk to kind of say, you know, I'm not a dupe of the man, as they might say in the 60s, in a way that if you didn't grow up in the 60s, well, weren't alive in the 60s in the sense of I was 2 years old, I think, till the end of the 60s, 68. I won't go into that. You might feel like a bit of the dupe, but in some ways it's a part of the conversation. So that's my ramble in the outside world here. Well, as much as outside as the car is. More videos later. Bye for now.